Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, space fans and stream watchers of all ages, welcome to Ozzy in Space. Tonight on Ozzy in Space, we have our very own first ever Tutorial Tuesday series for Elite Dangerous Horizons. A complete, an absolute beginner's introductory guide to Elite Dangerous. A live help desk. Let's get this show started. Hello everyone. I'm your host, Ozzy in Space. Nightmare, Swordsman, Hearthstone, Dreadnought Harkos, Lost Eye Patch. Good to see you guys. Happy Tuesday. It's good to see you guys, man. Nightmare. And we will, of course, upload this tutorial series to the YouTube channel. So it will be available as a VOD here. We'll make sure and get everything highlighted here, so it'll be on the highlight reel here on Twitch, as well as over at the YouTube. Scott, good to see you, lad. So the first thing you do when you fire up the game for the first time is you're asked to enter in your desired commander name. We are going to go ahead and just enter in Ozzy in Space. 2.0. Lightest, good to see you, Vagabond, Lapis Fox, Vuvu, Watson. Everyone's piling in here now. So this is, in fact, the very beginning. This is a brand new account that we purchased just for the sake of doing a tutorial series. Now, this is a brand new account. It starts us off in a beginner location. We get 1,000 credits and we're in the Sidewinder. Ship details. It says most pilots start their careers in the Sidewinder. It is a classic ship design that has been in use in various configurations since 2982. Its original design was a lightweight support ship, and it lacked jump capability, no surprise there. Modern compact drives have enabled jump-capable versions to be created, making this useful all-arounder, or making this a useful all-arounder. Anywho, this is our starting account. We don't really get much say. Now, it could have changed up the starting area depending on, because I'm not really sure if that's just because this is Horizons and maybe Horizons made that change. Not really sure, to be honest. But you get your main menu here when you first start out, and really what you want to do is get familiar with some of the controls, right? Before we do anything, you want to look at the controls, and when you look at these, there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. Terror, good to see ya. Oh, so Horizons opened up a second start location, so this must be that second start location. Dylan, good to see you, man. I mean, honestly, it's really not going to matter much as far as where we start. Just know that the starting location can depend on... It just may vary, right? Now, depending on what you're using, obviously it's nice if you have a HOTAS, which when you see and hear the term HOTAS, you might be wondering what that is, and that stands for a hands-on throttle and flight stick, flight control stick. So you may or may not have that. People use keyboard and mouse just fine. You certainly can use that. People use a controller just fine. You really have to, you know, it's like anything. You know, you may find that with a controller, perhaps your options may be a little limited as far as the controls go, but you certainly can use it. So you can look at different mouse controls. You can look at flight operation. Obviously the yaw, this is like any flight simulator, right? So the yaw is going to be your left to right turn translation. You can of course have that specific buttons if you want, but you can just kind of roll through here. Obviously roll is your roll from left to right. Pitch is pitch, right? Now thrust in this game, the thrust in this game is different than most. Wait, did we refresh? Oh, Twitch died on you guys? That's weird. Huh. Yes, we do have quite a few followers. Of course, the specific hardware that I use is listed in the channel below. I currently use a CH throttle and stick. I will say that if you're looking, my personal advice, everyone has an opinion on this, but my advice, if you're looking to get a HOTAS setup on a budget, the HOTAS X from Thrustmaster is the way to go. It's a fairly cheap but very effective and reliable HOTAS setup. If you're going to spend big money on it, it does cost a bit, but I would definitely recommend the CH product line. I'm using a CH fighter stick and throttle with Satec rudder pedals. Terror, I don't need to send another notification, bud. We should be good, man. We should be good. But anyway, the thrust. You have forward, backward thrust. You have left to right thrust. And you have up and down thrust for your spacecraft. So that in itself can be a little confusing and take some getting used to. Yeah, like I said, Harkos, everyone has their preference and opinion, but honestly, that is my professional opinion. Quite honestly. So anywho, but anyway, the thrust forward and backward, left to right, up and down, that can take some getting used to, and we can get more into that later on. Of course, you can go down here and set up your throttle. Honestly, a lot of these you don't really need to pay attention to. A lot of these controls you don't have to worry about, honestly. Just the basics, the thrust, the pitch, you know, the basic flight maneuver, that, you know, you want to get your thrust down, of course. Flight assist mode is good. That's basically like your stability control. You know, if you have it turned off, your craft kind of flows freely. Demarcus, hello, sir. You have engine boost, you'll find that useful. I would say definitely know that, and then toggle frame shift drive. I would say get that onto a button. You know, that's definitely something you're going to use quite often. The targeting, you know, select target ahead, you're going to want to know what that is, right? You can set these up if you want to cycle through targets. We can get more into that later, but that is an option. You certainly want to know what this is, though, I would say. I have it to select hostile ship, and I can select various targets if I want. Subsystem, that's another one that we can take a look at later on. The weapons, you have primary fire, secondary fire. You'll definitely want to know what these are, right? So, depending on what you have set up or what you want to have set up for that, typically it's going to be mouse button 1, mouse button 2 if you're using keyboard and mouse setup. Otherwise, you can assign them specifically. And of course, you have fire groups, so you'll want to know what those are. But we can get into fire groups later on. Hard points are your weapon deployment. So you want to know what this is. This is going to retract and deploy your weapons, essentially, right? So we'll cover more on this later, but you are gonna want to know what this is. The silent running and all that, we don't need that right now, but we can get into that later on. The ship lights. Ship lighting is good to know. I will say that. And then power. The power distribution is going to be important as well. So know what those are. And landing gear, for sure. Landing gear, for sure. Let's see here. Anything else? Yeah, so you want to know, like... Let's see, I think I have this set up above, but... Like, you know, looking at your different systems panels, we'll go over that more in a minute. Most of the stuff we can just cover from in-game here. Let's see. Head look. I have my head look, mouse head look turned on. And what that says is that anytime I click my middle mouse button, which I believe, again, I think it's set up here towards the top. We'll just take a look at this. Maybe? No, maybe not. Let's see here. Oh yeah, head look is my middle mouse button. So anytime I click that, I then have free range to look around the cabin, right? Driving assist will cover SRVs and the controls in that later on. But I think we're good to go for now. So just know what, you know, like I said, it's a lot of controls. It's easy for it to seem overwhelming. But the first thing you want to do once you get a handle on some of the basic controls, and honestly, I would say that it's probably going to... Oh, did we get a follow? We did. Thank you so much for those follows, guys. I really do appreciate that. Maybe I just totally missed the alert altogether. But the first thing you want to do is click on the training, right? You have training videos. You can do training missions. Now, we're not actually going to check out these videos. You guys can do that on your own time if you want. That's certainly something you can do. But we're going to do the training missions. We'll check out these training missions. And honestly, we don't need to go through all these. We'll do the basics here. You know, you don't have to do these in order. I would say, you know, we'll do the target practice. We'll try this out first. So it'll start us off in our introductory vehicle, the Sidewinder, the starting vehicle, right? So here we are, and this is really the first time that you get a look at the game itself, right? The absolute gorgeousness of this game. Like, this is frickin' amazing, is it not? Like, this is absolutely gorgeous. Now, again, I have it set so that way when I click my middle mouse button, you can see the little center rectile disappear, and that means I can use my mouse now to kind of move and look around my ship, right? And a couple of things you'll notice is that when I look this way, there's a menu over here, a screen that pops up. If I look down, there's a screen that pops up. This is specific to having Elite Dangerous Horizons, by the way. If you have just Elite Dangerous, this menu won't pop up. And if we look over here, we have another menu to our right, another panel. The quick way to know which panel you're looking at is that this will be specific to your stats, modules, and functions like fire groups here. And this menu over here will be strictly for navigation and targeting and stuff like that, right? Now, I'm just going to look here because this is really your chance to get familiar with some of the controls. And honestly, when you first go through the training missions here, it'll feel like you earned a degree, right? So what we'll do is we'll take a look over here at our fire groups tab. Remember we mentioned fire groups previously, and what this is this is setting up which things happen for which primary or secondary fire you decide to assign it to, or which one you want. So it looks like we have two what's called multi-cannons, right? Those are essentially machine guns in space. And it looks like we have a basic discovery scanner. It looks like the multi-cannons are assigned to group 1. We don't really need to do anything with the discovery scanner right now because we're not discovering anything. We're just target practicing, right? So we'll just kind of look forward here, and using our throttle, right? It looks like, or our targeting rather. Remember we went through and wanted to make sure that we knew how to target things ahead of us. This is where that comes in handy. So we can target things and cycle through them here if we want, if you know what that button is, right?
This is Three Dog. Ow!
Thank you guys so much for those follows. Lightus, ain't that the truth, bud? Ain't that the truth? That's funny. So what we want to do is it looks like what is our mission anyway? I mean, what are we supposed to do? Does it say? I think we're supposed to maybe destroy these things. Did it say? At any rate, the other way that one real quick thing here before, if you're looking at navigating these menus, when you look over here, like at this menu here, you can use from your keyboard. I actually use a flight stick and throttle plus the keyboard and mouse. I have the keyboard off to my left and my mouse to my right, so I use that for navigating all my ship's menus, and I have my flight equipment right in the middle, right? So that's how I do this. That's how I choose to set it up. You guys can do whatever works for you, right? So the way that you navigate these menus, if you're using the keyboard and mouse, right? If you set it up differently within the controls tab, that's totally fine. But it's defaulted by Q and E. So Q and E will tab over these different tabs here in the menu, right? Once you're in the menu or tab that you want, you can use W and S to go up and down. And then it's just spacebar to select that specific tab or option, right? So if I wanted to bring up the system map, I just hit space. Although I don't think that's actually going to work here because we're in training. Go figure. But through my contacts tab, this will show everything in my vicinity. So I could actually use space and select the various targets here if I wanted to. I believe the closest ones to you will be at the top, I think. I guess I'm not really sure. I'm just assuming that's how it goes. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And likewise, so that you got this menu up top here, right? And you can hit the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4, and that'll bring up these specific menus all together. This is your interaction to other players and various messages screen here, right? Thank you, Hearthstone. And yes, sets in it. There is a lot of buttons, and like I said, it can seem very overwhelming. There's a lot. I would say that it takes about a day or two to just get a handle for getting a feel for the controls. So don't be discouraged if it seems like it's really hard. It is. It has a bit of a learning curve, right? So I would say just stick with it. It'll come to you. It will. So you can go through these if you want to. If you're winging up with people, we'll cover more on this menu later, but I just wanted to show you basic menu navigation. And then the power distribution. So you have these 3 columns here, right, to the right. And these are the power distribution for your systems. That's what SYS stands for. ENG is for your engines, and WEP, of course, is for weapons, right? So what you have is the ability to route more power. Ooh. before I get too carried away here. You can put more power into your weapons or systems, right? Your systems, that's going to be your systems, like your shields and stuff like that, right? Your engines, that's going to control the power that goes to your engine speeds, and obviously weapons is more power to your weapons. And then there's the reset button itself. I have this toggled to a hat switch myself on my flight stick, making it easy to do. So that's just one thing here. And then you have your ship here right next to that, and that is the circles, the blue circles around it, that's your level of shields that you have around your ship, right? If those turn red or go away entirely, then your shields are no longer active, and your hull integrity, which is that 100% bar below that, that's what starts getting eaten away, and once that goes to 0, well, your existence in space is no longer a thing. So, to the right of the power distribution section there, you see fuel. The fuel has two sections to it, the small thin bar at the top, or right underneath of it, and then the blocks underneath that, the bigger blocks. Those are the fuel sections or reservoir tanks. The top one is the tank that it's using currently, right? The amount of fuel that it's using currently. You spent hours in this room, first time learning how to control my ship. That's funny. Yeah, we're doing a complete tutorial series here on Elite Dangerous. That's the goal anyway. And then your middle map here, this is your mini map, right? This shows various targets. You see kind of a rock there in the middle. Those are just various objects, right? The bar or meter to the right of your mini map is the speed, right? If we go backwards, this is my reverse speed. This is my forward speed. To the left of that is the temperature, right? Obviously, if it gets up into the red, you're doing internal damage to your modules. And actually, your modules are over here under this menu, right? We said this was basically your status modules and fire groups and functions tab. Here you can control various things and get information about the different systems within your ship, right? So like our thrusters, for instance. The checkbox next to the thrusters mean that we have that turned on. If we wanted to turn it off, we could simply hit space and confirm.
Thrusters offline.
And the lovely lady over the intercom tells me that my thrusters are no longer online. Same with the shield generator.
Shields offline.
All that good jazz. So you'll notice underneath that, at the very bottom, there's output 100% and usage 31%. The output is the overall power available, right, which is completely dependent on our power plant that we have in the ship, which we can get more into that later on. But the usage, that's how much of that overall power that I'm using right now. If I turn this back on, you can see that the usage of that power goes up to now 50%.
Thrusters
and
online.
And thrusters are now going back up to 81%. And since I actually turned my shield generator off, you see that I no longer have blue rings around my shield, right? Or around my ship, rather. And now the shield is trying to generate and will eventually charge back up. And you can see that since my systems column now is completely drained of power, you see how it's empty there? It's now recharging slower. So if I put more power into my systems, it'll actually go back and recharge faster now. So that's what the system's power will do. Will help your shields recharge or stay charged up faster. See, the red ring means my shields aren't completely fully recharged, but at least I have some shields now. And after my shields are done fully being recharged here, you'll notice that my system's power column will start filling back up with power because it's no longer being absorbed by the shield generator, right? You should see that any second here now. You should start seeing that build up. And there we go. You can see it's starting to build back up. That means it's no longer draining all of my system's power.
This is Three Dog. Ow!
Thank you guys so much for those follows, man. I really do appreciate that. And we're good to go. I just reset my power distribution. Now, underneath the fuel, you'll see that the thing called mass locked, landing gear, and cargo scoop. Mass locked, what that is anytime you're near like a station, or in this case an asteroid belt or a planet, you will have what's called mass locked. And what that means is that you cannot go into super cruise or warp drive, right?
Ow!
You can't go into that warp drive because your ship is mass locked. Thank you guys for those follows, man. I really do appreciate that. Landing gear means our landing gear is deployed. Obviously, if we did that, that light would light up, right?
Landing gear deployed.
But we don't need our landing gear deployed.
Landing gear retracted.
And cargo scoop is something you would use if you were gathering material or wanting to recover these canisters of toxic waste, for instance, I believe, right? Now it does say that it's legal salvage, but we don't actually want to keep that. Anyway, to the left of your minimap, your central minimap, you'll see your target. Now, if we don't have anything targeted, it'll just go back to the asteroid belt that we're in. That's the thing that it'll kind of give you some info there off to the left of what it is. It says that it's an icy ring, it's a training system. We don't really know much more beyond that, right? Is Three Dog louder than usual? I don't think so. I don't think so. Audrey, yeah, you'll have to start playing now. Ain't that the truth, huh? Ain't that the truth? So with that said, like I said, it'll be a little rocky at first here. No pun intended. While you're getting used to your ship controls, this is what the tutorial series and training environment here within the game is designed for, right? So yeah, and that's actually a really good point Hearthstone brings up. And if your landing gear is deployed, you'll notice, we'll go ahead and just check this out real quick. I'm just using my rudder pedals to yaw over. This is yaw, right? This is roll. And then this is pitch, right? And then of course, like I said, you have your forward thrust. You have your backwards thrust. And you also have up and down thrust. And then you also have left to right thrust. And this is really the part that kind of makes it hard to grasp at first, but it will come natural to you eventually. You just have to give it a day or so, right? And it'll settle in. So to that end, like Hearthstone was saying, if you do have the landing gear deployed, your overall speed will decrease. You won't be going as fast.
Landing gear deployed.
Right? If I were to retract my landing gear,
retracted.
you see the speed just shoot right up there, right? Get our targets out in front of us again. And then also, like somebody else said here, right? If your hard points, right? Remember, we said our hard points were our weapons. So if we just trigger our hard points to deploy, we'll just, for instance, pull our primary fire trigger, right? And now our hard points are deployed. Now, in order to, like in this case, if we wanted to go into warp drive or hyperdrive, right? Super cruise or hyper cruise or whatever cruise. We wouldn't be able to do that until our hardpoints were retracted. So you would want to make sure and put those back away. So you'll want to know what that is, right? Now, speaking to fire groups, like I said, both of our multi-cannons right now operate on fire group 1. If I wanted to separate that out, you actually have 2 fire groups, right? 1 and 2. Or 2, I'm sorry, primary and secondary fire. So options 1 and 2. You can create as many fire groups as you want, right? Within reason, of course. And this is the same menu navigation, right, that we were using before. So if I wanted to put one cannon on 1 and the other one on 2, we could certainly do that. And with our hard points deployed, this is where cycling through those fire groups matters, right? Now you can see that it has primary and secondary fire. Primary fire is on the right, secondary fire is on the left. And you can see that when I switch the fire groups, it swaps these over, right? Just like it should. Just like that. So if I wanted to fire both of these at the same time, I would use fire group 1 because they're both on fire group 1. If I wanted to just shoot the one in fire group 1, or just the second one in fire group 2, you could certainly do that. So that's kind of basics on fire groups. You can set those up as you go. We can cover more on that later on. We really only need the one fire group for this particular point in time. So again, we're going to use the basics that we learned here. We're going to target the thing in front of us here, right? And I think we need to destroy this toxic waste. So again, we can see our target now right here in the lower left of the screen. And we can see it's 100% right now. So we'll just go ahead and take it out. We might have to get a little closer, I think. And this could take a few minutes to get used to. You can see the integrity of that is now going down. It's now at 61%, 44, 28, 15, and the toxic waste has been destroyed. So you just want to, you know, get a feel for some of the controls. You know, it'll definitely take you a few minutes. That's okay. Noswolf, good to see you, bud. Or you can do what I did and just knock it into the next dimension. And the first time you do this, you'll feel like you earned a degree, man. You really will. You just kind of turn and navigate and, you know, destroy each of the targets. And this environment is really just meant to give you, just kind of get you familiar with some of the controls. Get a feel for just turning and navigating your ship, you know. The first few times you do this, the first few times you do this, like I said, it'll take you a few minutes, right? But that's okay. So we'll just go through and destroy the targets. Fixed and gimbaled. Yeah, we'll cover that later on. This is just basic, very, very basic ship navigation first. You can see just the slightest movement makes all the difference in the world. So definitely be patient with it. It looks like my hitting it actually did a little bit of damage to it. And of course you have ship lights, right? We did cover ship lights. You can experiment with that here if you really want to. It sounds like it's radioactive. I wonder if we're getting... You hear that Geiger counter? Huh. That's kind of weird. At any rate, that sound is the ship lights being turned on, and that is them being turned off. Once you fiddle with that a little bit, you can also go into an external view of your ship. You can't actually control your ship from this view, right? But if it's left Control Alt Space, and it even tells you your ship is particularly vulnerable in this state. But it'll kind of give you the ability. Oop! It looks like we're kind of slowly thrusting forward. This will kind of give you an external view you can kind of use to look around your ship if you want. It's kind of fun to do this every once in a while. But we're going to go ahead and just finish destroying these targets. Oop. If I can... If I can manage to do that. And training is now complete. Success. So well done, rookie. You've destroyed all toxic waste canisters present and have successfully completed this training simulation. So we can redo it if you want. If you want to go back and redo it, you certainly can. Otherwise, we can move on and check out another training module. So we did that. Let's try the basic combat. And it tells you a little bit about it here, right? New pilots should watch these pilot training videos. And again, you can check out these videos if you want. It says, pay attention, rookie. This training simulation involves ship-to-ship combat. Our objective is to engage and destroy then the contact on your sensors. Be aware that once engaged, the target will return fire. So we can go ahead and just check this one out. Edlald, thanks, man. Alright, so this is going to be a really good practice. You can see off in the distance there, it looks like a ship is flying. He's not yet targeted, that's what that square means there. But we can target him, right? Again, just by looking at our basic controls here. We can pull out our hard points, deploy the hard points, and we'll put some more power to our engines just to get a little bit closer. And again, this may take a little bit to learn how to navigate. And once I'm close to engaging my target, what I like to do is put power to my weapons, and the rest of the power goes into my system, which basically helps keep my shields as charged as much as possible while having non-stop firepower most of the time anyway. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and just target this guy, and we'll engage. You can see my weapon column being drained there, right?
Target
But
destroyed.
we did officially take him out. And we can head back and take a look at these other ones here. Now, wolf pack tactics, it says... I forgot to read what it says. I has hacks, what's up, dude? I think this is going to be multiple targets. So again, diverting power, that's one of the things in the controls that you're going to want to look at. Whether you want systems, engine, and weapons power. You want to know what those are for sure. And assign buttons to those, right? Now you'll see a couple of different contacts on our screen here, right? You see the green and the yellow. The green, those are local friendlies, oftentimes law enforcement or police. And this guy's already shooting at me. You see him lit up there. So we're going to target this guy. Same way we did before.
Target shields offline.
Looks like he's also getting engaged by the police. You can see his hull integrity going down. You see those markers, they're not, once they fly up onto the target like that, then you're good to go, because they are in fact on the target at that point.
Target destroyed.
Now, yeah, guys, the hardware that I'm using, I'm also using keyboard and mouse though for ship menu navigation, right? That's the important piece. That's the important piece. Now let's go ahead and take a look at these. Cobra Face-Off. So, Pilot, this advanced training simulation is designed to further test. We don't actually need to do this. We can, but this guy is pretty aggressive. And these are basically advanced combat. You don't necessarily need to do these. In fact, I would say don't be discouraged if you can't. Tolerance. You're just being a troll, brother. But we'll go ahead and check out the Cobra. Reynolds, what's up, man? So, let's see. So, flight from the stick. That is right. I just, like I said, I have my head look. There's a mouse option for head look. And when I click my middle mouse button, that allows me to freely look around my ship using my mouse controls. Right, from there we use the keyboard to navigate the various menus that we're looking at. That's really what we're doing there. All right. And this guy is advanced, so don't feel bad. Like, if you don't get through this, that's okay. You don't need to finish this right away. I mean, this is certainly advanced for sure.
Target shields offline. Shields offline. Under attack. Hull integrity compromised.
Now it looks like we have a railgun. These things are fixed weapons. That brought him down to 25%.
destroyed. Shields
Solid
online.
Snake, what's up, dude? Okay, so we did that. But honestly, we're not going to really do any of these other ones. Expert level training simulation.
Bam! Peanut butter and jam!
Thank you very much for that, host. Tolerance. Do I care for cannons? Cannons are good, but I think there's a time and place for them. These are pretty advanced combat. We don't really need to do these. We just want to learn about basic ship navigation. So we're going to learn how to launch here, right? So this is docking training here, right? So we're going to learn how to launch our ship. Huzzah! Guys, seriously, thank you for all the support, man. I really do appreciate that. You guys are awesome. It says, welcome to docking training. Now this is, we're inside of a station right now, right? So we can, again, use S and W to navigate these little station menus, right? And we can bring up the starport services. Each station will have one of these. It'll kind of give you a brief overview of the station. Again, I click my middle mouse button to look around. That's just the way I have it set up. We can check out what we have here. Looks like we have 2 pulse lasers on board. Now, I guess we can cover this real quick since we're looking at it, but you'll have gimbaled, fixed, and turreted weapons that you can use, right? So gimbaled means that they're gimbal, right? It means that it can rotate a little bit and kind of swivel. It's on like a hinge, essentially, and that makes for easier targeting. Fixed weapons are exactly just that. They're fixed. They're mounted straight up. So if you want to use those, you have to be good at aiming your ship straight at your target, right? So they have to line up with the dot, right? And turreted, they just kind of rotate and do their own thing and fire. You can see the turreted weapons. If you look under the functions tab here, the functions tab will give you various information about your ship. You know, you have rotational correction and flight assist things. Those are like stability enhancers, right? Pre-flight checks. Now, pre-flight checks, I usually turn that off, but that'll basically go over. We'll just turn that on just so I can show you what it looks like. But that's turreted weapon mode. If you actually have turreted weapons, it'll give you options there anyway. Infested, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? So, anywho, we're gonna go ahead. It said to launch, right? So I think we're gonna go ahead and just launch. Again, we just hit space. Now this is the pre-flight check that it brought up. Now it makes you go through the different things to make sure everything's working for you, right? So we can pitch up. We can pitch down. We can roll. I can yaw. I can thrust up, down, left, and right. Weapon deployment. Target ahead. And I'm not sure what UI focus is. I don't think I've ever used that. At any rate, that's the pre-flight checklist. It's actually a good way initially to get used to where some of the controls are. If you're worried, you know, if you need to get used to those. So initially, it's going to let us rip here, right? It'll let us off the pad, landing gear down,
Ship released.
right? Oop, oop.
Engines
My
engaged.
Now what we want to do is use the upwards thrust, right? We can turn our lights on. We can use upwards thrust like this.
Landing gear retracted.
Retract our landing gear. We want to go through this little slot out here, right? So we'll kind of use our controls here to kind of slowly navigate our way out of the ship. And there we go. And you can see that we're still mass locked there. That's because we're close to the station. Objective complete. Look at how gorgeous this Earth-like planet is. That's amazing. And you can do this as many times as you'd like. Whatever helps you get familiar with it, right? So that was launch. We can do docking. Now we'll practice docking. And docking is going in to get to a station. Right? Once you go to the station that you want, this is how you go in and land, right? So here's the station. Now, one thing you'll notice, there's a few different tactics here, right? A few different things that you'll notice. And I'm actually going to go over here to illustrate this. Has hacks? I would say yes. Tolerance, I believe that discussion is something far more advanced than what we are covering today. So you'll notice the front of the station is rotating in a counterclockwise direction. So what you're looking at here, when you come up on your station, right? You may end up coming in from a different system, and you might approach it and see this and go, well, where the heck is the entrance, right? Well, there's three primary ways that you can tell to find out where the entrance is. So the first and foremost is to know that it's always rotating in a counterclockwise direction, right? The other way that you can tell is that the front of it is always going to be facing, well, at 99.9% of the time, it's going to be facing the body that it's orbiting around. So in this case, it's facing that planet there. The other way that you can tell is that if you target the station itself, you'll notice a little icon appears, a little station icon appears, and there you can see the slot, and there's arrows pointing towards the front of the station there, right? So, but before we can dock, we actually have to request permission from the station to do just that. So to request docking, we're going to go over here to our left-hand menu, go over to our Contacts tab, and we'll hit space, which brings up the different options for this particular contact. And we'll go ahead and we can, you can lock the target if you want. But we want to request docking.
Docking request granted.
Do the planet surfaces vary much? Yes. Yes, they do vary. Absolutely. So we've requested docking. It now says we're going to landing pad 13, and we have 9 minutes and 40-some seconds to dock with our landing pad 13, right? So we're going to head out here. We'll head back towards the front of the station. Looks like there's space billboards out here to kind of give us some flash to look at. Now, this is the slot we want to kind of navigate through. You do want to make sure that you request permission before docking every single time. And there's landing pad 13. We can see it off to our left there, right? Now, you don't want to just land at any old pad. You want to make sure that you're going to the right one. So here is landing pad 13. Before we land, we want to make sure that our landing gear is down. So we're going to put that down, and then we'll come in and approach this landing pad 13.
Landing gear deployed.
And/or ship destruction.
And then we'll use our downwards thrust a little bit and just kind of get in here a little ways. And eventually, you'll see this little this little map come up at the very bottom, your mini map, and you want to get into the center of that target there, right? So you can use your left and right translation, forward and backward thrust as well, until you see that thing hit up blue like that, right? Somewhere in that middle circle, when it's blue, that's where you want to land. So from there we can just go straight down, and you're good to go. Docking a few times can be challenging, right? And again, I say do this as many times as you need to, right? But you will get the hang of it. I have every confidence. Audra, yes there is. Yes, I would say go check out many of our of our library of VODs on this game. Oh my goodness. But it can definitely take some time getting used to docking. And certainly don't, I mean, I make this look easy. I've done it many times, so that's why it maybe took me a little bit quicker than it might take you, but that's okay. You know, like I say, this is only a training environment, so you can go back and do this as many times as you need to. And then the other, like I said, we skipped these advanced combat trainings. We're actually not going to do those because like I said, you don't need to do these. These are advanced training. Or combat rather, you can go back and do these if you want, but they are advanced. So, like I said, I would just go right through these. We've done launch, docking, and now we're going to do travel. So we'll learn how to navigate within space itself, right? This is what we're going to do now. We're going to learn how to just navigate the various systems and how to get from point A to point B, right? Surfing Ninjas, you should get an award. Alright, so welcome to frame shift training. Now, frame shift drive, that is what enables you to go into that hyper cruise or super cruise or warp drive, right? That's really what that is. So we're going to go ahead and launch. It says launch to begin, so we'll go ahead and launch. We'll turn on our lights here, right? And then same thing as before, once it lets us loose, we'll thrust upwards to get off the pad and lift up our landing gear, right?
Ship released. Engines engaged. Landing gear retracted.
Welcome to the stream, new panda. Yeah, see, it says here, frame shift can only be used outside of mass locked. So once that mass locked light goes away, then we'll be able to go into frame shift drive mode. And of course, we want to get there a little bit faster. We can put more power into our engines. And you can even boost. There's a boost button. Remember we covered that within the controls. Once you get far enough from the station, there we go. Mass lock is no longer lit up. And landing gear is up, so we're good to go. We're good to go. So what we want to do now is look at when we looked at the controls, there was the frame shift driver engage or toggle. That is the button we're going to be looking at using now. So without having a specific system targeted, we'll just go right into Super Cruise, and we'll be going throughout the system that we're in, right, without jumping to another system.
Frameshift drive charging.
So it will charge, and then we'll take off.
3, 2, 1, engage.
And here we are. And we are now in Super Cruise. And we can navigate and look at the various things. There's the star. This, like I said, like it says here on the screen, this allows us to travel within the system that we're in, right? And then it says hyperspace is used to travel to other systems. So what we can do is look at, well, let's see if I wonder if we can bring up the system map. Anyway, under the navigation tab here, you have the different things that are actually within the system that you're in right now. And you can target these various things. Here's the station, right? Looking at all these different icons here. These round circles, these are different planets and moons. This square with another square inside of it, that's going to be the bigger station that we're in, or that we were just at, rather. I'm sorry. That's really what that is. We can navigate over here to the system map. It'll actually bring up a whole map of the solar system that we're in, right? Again, here is that station that we were just at. The various planets and moons that are here. All that good jazz. And if we bring up the galaxy map, which is freaking huge. Freaking huge. It looks like it already has a destination chosen for us, but you could basically just click on, you know, on a nearby system and go to that system. This has already been chosen for us, but you would just click on plot route, right? When you come up here and you see this, you have different information. You can click on this, and you have things like economical route, fastest route. The frame shift drive boost and all this, we'll cover that later once we start doing planet landing stuff. You have this view, which gives you the realistic view of the map itself. You can sort by different criteria. There's this jazz, which we don't really need to worry about all this just yet. At any rate, this has already been a chosen destination for us, so you would typically just plot the route there, right? And then you get this orange line. And the orange line means you can get there, the solid orange line rather, means that you can get there within the fuel range that you have available to you. If we were to try to, I guess we can't really plot these other ones yet, so that's okay. At any rate, so now what we have, since we have something targeted, you'll notice next to the very left there, you have the little mini circle, the mini target kind of globe looking thing there. The white dot indicates where your target is at. If you see a hollow one, it's in that general vicinity. You just got to keep turning that direction. So we'll kind of use our flight stick and just turn this way. And here's our destination. Now, because we're already in hypercruise or supercruise, we want to hit our frame shift drive button again, and that's going to warp us over to this system, right? Otherwise, if we kept at this rate, it looks like it's 3.16 light years away, and it would take us, well, maybe right around, it looks like we're speeding up here, so maybe right around 15 days to get there, if we left it at this speed. So that's traveling over the speed of light, right? I mean, so...
Frameshift drive charging.
So we're going to toggle that button again and duck out to the system here, to our destination.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
In every system that you enter, you will always be brought in towards the star that the system is centered around, right? Whatever solar system you enter. So it wants us to select another destination. Oh, and looking at our map here, right? Our navigation tab, rather. Looks like there's one thing here that says unexplored. There's the Lao colony. Now that is, once you see that symbol, right? We said that the square within the square, the one right below that, that's always the bigger orbital stations. The one right above that, that little hash symbol looking thing, Lao colony, is actually what's considered an outpost, right? So the outpost, those are smaller than your normal bigger stations and typically have less to offer at them. So but they are, you can do things like maybe refuel there things like that. So we want to disengage our frame shift drive, it looks like. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that you're throttled all the way back, because if you do it too fast and you brake from frame shift too fast, you'll actually do hull integrity damage and potentially damage modules. And here we are. So now we're not going anywhere, really. What did it want us to do? Did it want us to go to another station? Destination station. So this is going to a station within this particular system, so we can just hit space on that, lock the destination, and now we can see that it looks like it's actually on the other... Oh wait, it's over here. Okay. So that's okay. And that's, again, that's within the system here. We didn't really need to disengage from our frame shift drive to do that, but
Frame shift drive charging.
we'll go ahead and charge it back up.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
And see, you can select other things here too, right? If you wanted to go to that colony instead. But we'll go to the destination station. Seems like a legit thing to do. And it says here that it's 578 LS away. Now, LS stands for light seconds. But am I good for asking a few questions? I'll try to answer them as we go. If you, I apologize that I'm not, you know, I really do apologize that I'm not answering all of them in chat as we see them. Woodpecker, the answer to your question is early 30s. Which is kind of irrelevant. But this is a complete tutorial beginner's guide to Elite Dangerous, my friends. So as you can see, the time below that, that's kind of depending on our speed, right? That depends on how fast we're going to get there. Now, if we have it full gas, we're going to get there a lot faster. If we pull back on the throttle, you know, typically in this blue range here, that's going to be right around optimal for having the most control. Now, when you approach the station, the rule of thumb is to keep it at right around 7 seconds away, right? Otherwise, you'll whip right past it, and you'll probably do that the first few times anyway. Don't be discouraged. I still do it. Right? If I do this and we go too fast and it says slow down, now I can't slow down in time, and I'm going to whip right past it. I won't be able to slow down in time. And this is known as the loop of shame, right? Additionally, when I see questions being answered by other folks in chat, then I tend not to answer them. Right? So, let's see here. It says on the throttle display, the bar goes blue. Yeah, that is the optimal, that's the optimal range and control indication. So anyway, we'll kind of approach this. We'll come in nice and slow. We'll stay definitely within our blue here, maybe a little bit under. You can see the throttle itself turns blue, or the ticker does, once we're within that range. But we're gonna stay right underneath that, and we'll just kind of ease in. Yeah, everybody has their own tricks, but honestly, I would say we can explore throttle binding for those other keys later on. And then you'll get safely disengaged. From here, you just hit your frame shift drive button again, and it drops you out near the station. Once you see that blue and it says safe to disengage, then you can go ahead and drop out, and you're good to go. And we'll just zip right in here. Now, again, we want to make sure that we're requesting permission to dock first, right, before we go in. So again, we're going to go over to our contacts tab and request our docking.
Request granted.
This is Three Dog. Ow!
I just want to say, that planet looks really cool from here, doesn't it? Wow, look at that thing, dude. I don't know if it's the way the star is hitting it with the different lights and the clouds and stuff like that, but that just looks really cool. So again, yes, and if you're not within the 7,500 meters, 7.5 kilometers rather, of the station, it will say docking request denied. So you want to make sure that you're definitely within that range. So it looks like we're going to landing pad number 12. And it looks like this is number 12 here. You see the number 12 right above it. We'll put our landing gear out, and again we'll use our thrust to kind of maneuver our way in
Landing
here.
gear deployed.
Do all stations look the same? No, they do not. Again, the target is now blue, so that indicates it's safe for us to drop all the way down.
Engines disengaged.
At this point, we have completed the basic training. I mean, that is it for training. And, you know, like I said, you will feel like you earned a degree at this point. We've learned how to launch, dock, and travel within the systems. We've learned basic combat and target practice and faced off against a pretty advanced enemy. We haven't done the real advanced combat training, which, again, you don't have to do that, but you certainly can. And there's also videos there, right? So at this point, we have the very basics down, and we'll go ahead and just start our game, our actual game. And there's a few different ways you can go here, right? You have open play. Now, open play is with everybody online. This is an MMO, right? So there are potentially other ships and players to contend with. You have solo play, which is you versus NPCs, right? AI targets, or AI ships rather, or a private group. We don't actually have any private groups active. So, I mean, we could maybe create one at some point, but we're going to go ahead and just show this in solo play, right, for now. Open play is certainly fine. I mean, the thing is, no matter what you do, everything is going to stay the same for your ship and your save across all three of these platforms, right? The CQC Championship, this is like an online PvP, close quarter combat situation. It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like the Call of Duty version of Elite Dangerous, right? If you want PvP and you're, you know, it's kind of it's really fast paced and engaging. Did I spell tutorial incorrectly? There, now it's been updated. That's funny. But we're going to go ahead and do this in solo play, but no matter what you choose here, right, if you decide you want to do solo play now and then go do open play later, that's totally fine. Your save will remain the same across all three of these. I didn't want to say that after the F5 shaming. Hey, no worries, man. No worries, my friends. Tomato, tomato, right? So we're starting off now officially in our first save. This is actually really exciting, right? I mean, how cool is that? How cool is that? And it looks like... Wait a second. This is a surface base? Interesting. I didn't realize that was a thing. This must be part of Horizons. You could start off at a station, or you could start off here, I suppose. Either way, if we look over in our navigation tab here, we see a bunch of stuff here, right? You got Baker's Prospect. Now these little buildings and stuff like that, these are things that are on the surface. Again, you have different moons underneath planets, and I think this is the star. These are planets. These little subcircles underneath, these are moons underneath that thing. This is a bigger station. These other circles here, these are other systems that are nearby, right? Oh, so it lets you choose orbit or surface. Huh. I don't remember seeing that. I think I just chose something. That's interesting. So we can go ahead and look over here, and see what we have for weapons. It looks like it starts you off with 2 pulse lasers, right? And we have a basic discovery scanner, which isn't bound to anything right now. We can actually bind that thing to our second action group if you want. Or maybe just out here is fine. So it's on its own type of thing. But we can go ahead and pull up Starport Services. And this is going to give you a whole lot of information about everything, right? It tells you the basic status of your ship. The hull integrity is 100%. We're full on fuel. We don't need to repair or reload or anything like that. Yes, there are a lot of planets with stations now. Yes, there are. There's local news that you can check out. It's kind of cool. There's Galnet news, which kind of gives you an idea about various things happening in the game. This is your commander name, CMDR. Now, if you're playing in open play and you see CMDR next to anybody's, like when you target something, and you see their name over here in the lower left corner of the screen, if it says CMDR commander right before it, that means it's an actual person and not an NPC or AI target, right? So, anywho, you got various things here, right? You got a market. There's an open market here. And you can buy and sell and trade things if you wish. So that's kind of cool. If you want to get into trading, there's certainly a lot of that to do here. Outfitting. Outfitting basically allows you to select different weapons. Now, because we're in the starter ship, money, it's not going to break the bank to lose this thing if we die and blow up, right? And chances are that may happen to you once or twice, or maybe even 10 or 12 times. It really depends. But you have utility mounts. These are the various utility mounts. These are external things on the ship. You have internal things here. Now, loaned means this is what came with the free starter ship, right? It looks like this thing actually came with a planetary hangar, and we don't have an SRV in it though. An SRV, that's the rover, the vehicle, the surface vehicle, right? Looks like we have a cargo rack. Here's our shield generator. We have a slight fuel tank. These are all loaned parts, though. Livery, of course, we don't have anything here. You can get various paint jobs. These are all extra, of course. You can buy them in the Frontier store or through the dashboard, things like that. Now, we only have 1,000 credits to start off with here. I suppose you can't see that right now. Hang on. Now you can see it. You only have 1,000 credits here to begin with, right? This is the starter amount of credits. You have some basic numbers here, right? Now this is power usage. Power is going to play an important role, so this is your power usage when everything is retracted, meaning your hard points are not deployed, right? Deployed, we're using 5.49 megawatts out of a total available 6.4 megawatts, right? We have cargo capacity of 2. Our fuel capacity is 2. This is our current mass. The max is the max mass that our ship can incur given our current hardware support. That we'll go over that through through the various systems like thrusters and things like that. Oh, and I suppose as long as we're here, jump range. Jump range. This is an important number. This is the total distance that your ship is able to jump. Like if you wanted to go to another system, right? Another solar system, and plot your course there, right? We can go over that here in a little bit, but this is the max range. So if we wanted to go to a system that was, let's say, 24 light years away, we would have to find systems in between there that are 6 light years away or less and make several jumps along that path, right? So that's really what that is. Put me back over here. Dave's plays, Jananton, good to see you. No IO. How to do, Raven. Oh man. B-Mackin. Good to see you guys. Welcome to Tutorial Tuesday. So we have bulletin board. The bulletin board is actually pretty slick. This is where you can go to get different missions. Now you have things here like available missions, available surface missions. Now, we don't actually have any SRV in our vehicle right now, so we don't have the ability to really do these surface missions right now. Let's see, planetary search and rescue. Yeah, we don't have that ability right now. Even though it says it's available, it's kind of weird. Yes, Daves, you can ask noob questions. And guys, I apologize if I'm not getting to all of the questions. Certainly, feel free to ask them. Other people in the chat will certainly most likely answer them before I get to them. So if you don't see me answer it, chances are somebody else in the chat did. But I'll try to answer them as fast as possible. Actually, we don't have an SRV. We have the planetary hangar, but there is no SRV here. We can't purchase it. But that's weird because it says that there's one there, doesn't it? Or wait, no? Maybe? I guess I'm not really sure. There isn't one here though, because it says we can't purchase it. Unless maybe it is there and it's just lying to me. I suppose we could look here. Oh yeah, there is one there. Look at that. Nice. Nice. So that's kind of deceiving then, isn't it? So one thing true to Horizons is that you get the additional third menu down here at the bottom. Same with any other menu navigation. You can select the vehicle. If you have multiple SRVs, then you can deploy these. To keep this simple, we're not going to do any surface missions. I was actually hoping to figure this out and go over this later, so we're actually just going to leave and we're going to go to a station. I'll probably head over to this station here, to be honest. But at any rate, you can pull up the bulletin board and check out any of these missions that you want to do. Now, there's a few things to know about these different types of missions. For instance, these symbols that you see here, these help your reputation within certain factions, right? So this will give you, like, these missions will help you with those factions. Now, there's a tab here called Galactic Powers, and I'm just going to go over this really quick. I would actually recommend not doing anything in here until you are on your feet for a good long while. You can actually get by quite well without doing anything in power play, but this is power play. But what I wanted to do here was go over what this means. You see these different symbols here, right? Like this is that same triangle that we just saw, and this guy is aligned with the Alliance, right? So if we were to take that mission, that particular mission, it would actually be helping our ranking within the Alliance, right? And if you look over here under the status tab, you see here under the reputation section, which is just off to the right, we have Federation, Empire, and Alliance. That's our reputation within each of those factions, and that's where that information will be found. Now to the left here you see combat rank, trade rank, explorer rank, and CQC. As you do various things, you know, that information will become populated here, right? So that's really what that is. So we have various missions available to us. Now this is reliable agents required for sensitive delivery work. And it looks like for completing this particular mission, they're going to give us 8,500 credits, which is pretty significant compared to what we have now. When we look at these missions, if you look at these missions, it again tells us we're getting 8,500 credits, right? A target system is this guy, which is 44.69 light years away, which, you know, considering we have a jump range of 6, that could take a little while, right? In fact, we can open the galaxy map and plot a course to this thing. It'll open right on that system, but we can try to plot a route to it. Route unavailable. So you have fastest route and economical route. What you probably want to do here, especially in the starter ship, is click on economical route. And because there is no route available, oh, maybe there is now. We'll try. No? Yeah, we still can't get there. Kind of weird, actually. Let's say market first. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to make a difference. You should never have to mark it first. I've never had to do that. It's literally, this is our jump range, right? Because our jump range is so poor, we can't do that. That's not a thing. So that's what that is. That's what that is. So we're actually not going to take this mission, because we would most likely fail. But like I said, instead what we're going to do is I'm going to actually head over to that other station that's nearby. This guy here. So we're going to go ahead and launch, right? Oh, and of course... Oh. Again, pre-flight checks are up. I guess it's going to make me do it now that I have it up. That's okay. Again, this really is a good idea. So you kind of get familiar with the various flight controls initially. It's kind of weird that it said it was a capable mission, though. That's the weird thing. Well, in different stations, we'll have different contracts available, different missions. So like I said, we're actually just going to take off here. Solid Snake, take it easy, bud. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Ship released. Engines engaged. Landing gear retracted.
So this is, in fact, a surface station, believe it or not. Kind of cool. And there's the star. This is actually... Actually, since we're here, I'm gonna turn off pre-flight checks. Well, pre-flight checks are off, so maybe, yeah, maybe it is that first initial thing. At any rate, now if we want to just go right into the system, I'm actually going to unlock the target here. What you want to do is just kind of look up, and as soon as you see this thing flip right past 95, just like that, right around in here is where your escape vector is going to end up being. So we can just punch it this direction, and as soon as our mass lock light goes away, like it did, now we can hit our super cruise button and just kind of point it at this general direction here towards our escape vector.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Mr. Stargoon. Alright, and then you can see here to the right there, you can see the number climbing, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's how many kilometers off the surface we're getting once we get high enough. This little center heads-up display will eventually just keep going here, right? Eventually we'll get high enough to where we won't be flying relative to the planet anymore. In fact, we could just turn sideways here and take a look at it if we really wanted to. Kind of look out our window. That's kind of neat, huh? You can see it now, it's climbing up past 700, 800, 900. Yeah, Bernard's Loop, I think that's a little ways out as far as tutorial series coverage goes. We'll definitely get to some exploration for sure. So now you can see the heads-up display for planetary landing is now subsided. You can see a little orange target there. That's another ship flying. We can target it. Looks like it's scanning. It says he's flying in a Vulture. He's actually wanted right now. See that red wanted status underneath of him? That means he has a bounty on his head. Now we can't actually do anything about it because we're not hunting him down, but we're gonna go check out another station and see if there's any missions there, right? So we'll go check out this Beagle's Landing area here. We'll just kind of turn over this way. Free money. And again, guys, certainly feel free to ask questions, or, you know, I see chat is definitely on top of covering little things here and there that maybe I miss or failed to bring up right away. Certainly appreciate that. That's one thing you will find is this community, the gaming community around this is amazing. Absolutely. Alright, so you can see it's about 1400 light seconds out. It says here at this speed we'll be there in about 2 minutes, just under. You can see that's actually rapidly decreasing. Maybe about a minute. Yeah, it did start us in a different starting area. Your starting area may vary, right? It may vary, but that's okay. The premise is going to remain the same. The premise will remain the same. It actually started us off on the surface. But we didn't actually take any of those missions because I wasn't very pleased with that. And we can't do a whole heck of a lot right now because our jump range is pretty poor. You know, we'll go take a look at making some cash here. Now we're gonna kind of try to back off the speed here a little bit. Just kind of slowly come in. And again, the first few times you do this, you'll probably zip right past it. Have to slow down and turn around. And there really is no up, right, or wrong way to approach anything in space. You can fly in any way you want. Yeah, for the most part, people will start in the same part of the galaxy for sure. Or not for the most part, they will.
This is Three Dog. Ow!
And thank you guys so much for those follows, man. I really do appreciate that. So we're approaching the station here. We're just kind of backing off our speed as we go. You know, you'll see that our speed is actually decreasing right now. And that is because we are really close to this planet and or moon. Looks like a moon. And that's because the gravity around it is really slowing us down. And you'll notice that is going to be the case across the board, depending on the various bodies and stuff that you fly next to and encounter. And now we can safely disengage. And judging by the way it's rotating, and plus we can see the little metal sticking out of the front of it here, we'll just kind of zip over this way. Now let me just demonstrate this real quick. Now at this distance, this is too far away to request docking, so if we tried even right here,
Docking request denied.
it says that we need to be a lot closer, 7,500 meters or 7.5 kilometers. So we would want to definitely get a little bit closer here before we could request our docking permission. And here we should be good.
Docking request granted.
Beautiful. So it looks like they want us to go to landing pad 36. Yeah, all of that binding keys and everything like that, I think that's really going to vary on the person for sure. I mean, you could certainly do some of that and play around with it. Everyone's going to have their own preference for sure. So we'll just kind of approach what is often referred to as the mail slot. It looks like we can see landing pad 36 here. Now you'll notice another landing pad lit up there. Actually a few of them. If you were to try landing at those, you would most likely get fined. You'll probably get fined and or potentially even shot for loitering, depending on the station. So we'll come in for landing. Landing gear deployed. And we'll dock here.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
Huzzah! So what we'll do is we'll bring up the starport services here. Player-owned stations? No. Docking computer, don't even get me started. we're not under modules yet. Now here, you can see that our reservoir fuel tank is 59% or we have 59% remaining on that. It would cost me 10 credits to refuel that, which now brings me down to 990 credits, right? We could look at the bulletin board here. Yeah, we certainly don't need to have the docking computer discussion here. Anywho, but anyway, we see that we have available missions and available but unobtainable. And incidentally, as we found out at the last station, even though they're under available, they may also be unobtainable. So let's see, this says planning for victory and data handler needed. Now I have to imagine this is going to be pretty difficult. Cargo assault plans, mission specific. This is 11.95 light years away to get to this target system. Let's see, a set of military assault plans have been stolen and experienced pilot is needed. Now it says here that these are stolen plans, so that may not be good. That may not be good. An experienced pilot is needed to recover them. Once the plans have been found... See, I don't think we want to do this. The money is nice, 31,000 credits. We could certainly use that cash, but this is pretty risky. That is risky. And it looks like we have 15 minutes to 35 minutes to get this thing complete. So you have to also look at that, right? You gotta look at all the specifics here and take this into account for sure. Let's check out this data handler. Carrier signal decrypting message received. Salutations, Commander. I am looking for a discreet and fast data courier to make a delivery to Azaban Orbital. The information you'll be carrying is time sensitive and I'll pay well for its safe and speedy delivery. Looks like we're going to an outpost, an orbital outpost, which is 4.48 light years away, certainly within our range of 6, right? We have 33 minutes to get that mission done. I think we can do this. Let's do it up. Let's accept this one. Right? So if we take a look over here now, under our inventory tab. Wait a second. We have to go there and pick it up first. Is that the gig? Well, we'll go at least check this out. We should have everything that we need, I think. Once we accept it, we should have everything that we need. For some reason, that's not working. Anyway, let's see. E-R-A-N-I-N. E-R... Oh, it's this one right down here. This is the system that we're supposed to go to. So we'll just go ahead and lock that target. We'll go ahead and launch. Data doesn't take cargo? Okay. That's actually good to know. I thought it did for some reason. That's kind of weird. But that's actually good to know.
Ship released. Engines engaged.
So again, this is
Landing gear retracted.
by now we have the basics of navigation down and general system operation. And again, it might take some time getting this down, and that's perfectly understandable. And it's okay to stop and look at how gorgeous this space is, dude. Space is gorgeous. It absolutely is. It's incredible. My god. Okay, so once Maslock is gone, which it looks like it is, we will go ahead and
Frameshift drive charging.
charge up our frameshift. Landing computers just take up They just take up slots, man. Internal slots, and you don't need them.
4, 3,
Save that slot, or wait, no,
engage.
that's actually a utility slot, isn't it? But yeah, you know, landing is something that you can easily figure out. So we made it to the system here. Now we can look over here to our navigation tab and look at that. What was the name of that station? Azaban Orbital, right? That was the one. So this is one of the outposts, right? These are big orbital stations, and these are the smaller outposts, right? So we'll go ahead and lock our target to the outpost. You can see a little picture of the outpost there, right? And by no means is the outpost small, right? It's still actually a fairly decent size. But we'll head out here. It looks like it's about 200 some light seconds away within this system. And we're closing in. I can't tell. It looks like, oh yeah. So when you see this hollowed out line like this, that means it's your target is actually behind something. So in this case, it's behind this big body that we're seeing here. So we'll actually just kind of wrap around here a little bit to the other end, the other side here of the planet. Look at that gorgeous Earth-like planet. I suppose we could explore it. Yes, we could. Because we do have a Discovery scanner on board, don't we? Yes, we do. So if we cycle through, and look at there, we have our Discovery scanner now in primary fire group. And just hold that trigger down. Lost my... oh wait, there it is. It's still targeted. Oop, and we're getting interdicted. Now this is somebody else trying to be a wise guy. There's a good chance he might be wanted. Looks like he's a courier. I'm actually going to try and take him out. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't. Because I don't think we're really equipped to do this right now. So we're just going to go ahead and jump back into Super Cruise.
Charging.
Come on. Come on. It sure is taking its sweet time, isn't it?
Four, three, two, one. Engage.
Yeah, really, it's just too early on to be taking those guys out. George... Yeah, see, if I did it, it would definitely need to be a secure thing. I'm gonna set up something like that for the stream. The frame shift drive took longer because the spacecraft was near us. Anytime there's something like that near you or close by, it'll take longer to charge. Additionally, right? Additionally, because the power was being used, I think. But yeah, that was a bot player. We're in solo mode right now, so now you see that because we're on the other side of this planet, the station is now showing up. Oh my goodness. This guy is persistent as all get up. Now, if you submit to these these interdictions,
Frameshift drive charging.
it'll actually, your frameshift drive requires a cooldown period, right, before you can fire it up again. If you pull back and submit your throttle to 0, right, submitting to the interdiction, your frameshift drive cools down quite a bit faster, allowing you to just boost away and jump back out into super cruise, like we're doing here. This guy must be after me because he must be onto my mission or something.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to come after me again, in fact. There's this guy, Sammy, saying, is he gonna try and interdict me again? You might. Come on, leave me alone, dang it. Oh, yes, we made it. Ah, whew. Okay, so at any rate, here's our orbital station. Is that this guy that was shooting at me? It is.
Target shields applied. Target destroyed.
Now, because he was wanted and we took him out, we just made 11,000 in credits. So that's it's actually quite a bit more than we planned on making with this first initial mission, but he was persistent, and I just got it. I just had it. I just had enough of it. Their bounties are not part of the reward. No, they are not. This mission is not that at all. We are getting 1,300 credits for this mission, cut and dry. Now, because of that, we have another contact down here. It says 11,700 credits to collect. Now, because we did the bounty in this space, we want to make sure that we turn that in at a station in this system. At any rate, we're close enough now to the orbital station, or the outpost, where we can kind of request docking.
Request granted.
Looks like they want us to go to landing pad 1. We can kind of see it lit up there. Thank you guys so much for those follows, man. I really do appreciate that. That guy was just really persistent, and it just bothered me, so I had to take him out. Now, the one way you'll know, because the thing is, when you come in and dock with these, you have to face the right way, right? You have to be facing the right direction. One way you'll know is by looking at these little pads, this little back kick plate, this thruster plate here. You always want the back of your ship to be facing that way. And likewise, there will usually be a tower, like you see here, like these little command center things, will always be in the front.
Warning, landing gear not deployed.
Of course, I wasn't paying attention. At any rate, we want to go ahead and just
Landing
line
gear
up with our circle here.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
That looks really cool, doesn't it? Look at that. That is sweet. Oh, man. God dang, space is amazing, dude. Space is amazing. Ugh. You will get some of the best views in this game. Unbelievable. So anyway, because we're at the target station here, we'll go up and bring this up, right? We can actually refuel here for 27 credits. Now we can go to our bulletin board, and we should be able to look at our mission here, right? And complete it, I'm hoping. The banter, what's up, man? Yes. Space! Space is amazing, dude. It really is, man. Now, if this ever opens up... Hello? I said if it ever opens up. Oh. Failed to communicate with the server. Well, let's try it again. No? Really? Let's try it again. Never actually had that happen. It's kind of weird. Leave it to Tutorial Tuesday, right? Dude, I'm telling you. Nerf nerd, what's up, man? So, here's deliver cargo, right? Other missions that we could do. But here's the deliver cargo mission. Carrier signal decrypting. Message received. I've received your delivery and it's exactly what I needed. Complete the contract to collect your fee. Yes, for 1,300 credits, and we now have a bit more cash, influence within the local system. Yeah, that's really good. Had a good positive impact on our reputation. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? 63. So again, we have data handlers. There's other things here. Typically, you see shadow deliveries. This thing here. Now, you got to, like I said, you got to be really careful about this stuff. Mission will fail if ship is scanned. Right when you're approaching ship or stations, bigger stations where police and law enforcement is present, you will most likely be scanned. Now, if you're quick, you can avoid it. If you run in silent mode, there's another option under your controls. Controls will allow you to go into silent mode if you have that button configured. What silent mode is... I don't know if we can do that here. Oh yeah, we can.
Silent running.
I do have
Shields
silent.
offline.
What that does now is that turns your shields offline, and you're no longer emitting a heat signature, right? Now we'll get more into how this can be useful later on, but that's one way to avoid it. Now, because you're not emitting a heat signature, you're actually building up heat internally in your ship. So you'll see that temperature gauge start to rise. Now there are heat sinks that you can use, which are, you know, they go into your utility when you're outfitting and stuff like that. But that's one other way you could combat it.
Restored. Shields online.
Did you see how fast those came back?
Shields offline. Thermal signature restored. Shields online.
That's because we're plugged in, of course. That's why it came up so fast. But because we got that bounty, right? Because we took out that guy, that pesky guy that interdicted us twice and followed us right to this station, we can actually go over here under the contacts tab. And we can collect that fee, that bounty here, which is 11,700 credits. Pretty darn slick. We now have 14,000 credits, dude. That's actually pretty slick. It's actually pretty slick. And not every outpost will have outfitting capabilities. In fact, you'll usually find that's actually really gorgeous to look at. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm sorry, I get caught up in the view of space, man.
This is Three Dog. Ow!
So 14,000. Now that's substantially more. You'll notice that's substantially more money than we got than doing that one mission, right? Now that goes to show you that there's ways to make a lot of money really fast and ways to kind of take it a little bit easier, right? I mean, that guy was attacking us outright either way, but he was wanted and he had a bounty on his head, and bounty hunting is one of the more profitable ways to gain cash. You know what I mean? Banter, do I have any tips? Yes, watch this very stream. And guys, for those of you that didn't get a chance to watch the entire stream, we'll be uploading this introductory, the beginner's guide, Tutorial Tuesday, Series 2 Elite Dangerous to the YouTube channel. You guys can go ahead and check out OzzyInSpace.com. Follow me on Twitter, add me on Steam, and check out YouTube if you'd like. You guys can also follow me on Live Guide, a new place to follow Ozzy in Space. Pretty cool app if you guys get the chance. Finding the aliens delete. We can work on that. We can work on that. Now these loaned weapons, right? These loaned internal parts and external parts. These things are not anything that we're going to gain money from. In fact, if we try to sell it, it's not going to get us anything because this is the beginner ship, starter loaned parts. What we could do is look, and you can see here that if we wanted to buy different weapons for this thing, like shock mines or rail guns or anything else, you can see that it actually costs substantially more here. But these guys don't really have. It's just not all that good, really. There's kill warrant scanner. This is good if you're wanting to scan your bounties for additional. Hearthstone, we actually did turn in the mission already. Didn't we? I could have swore we did. But you know, cargo, kill warrant scanner, cargo scanner, stuff like that. If we look at internal, you know, your power plant, this is what's going to give you more power ability. Thrusters, obviously this place actually doesn't have thrusters. Like I said, it's excuse me, it's an outpost, so it, you know, what the stuff that it does have here is pretty limited. Better frame shift drive. You'll see that by getting a better frame shift drive, that really dramatically, that almost doubled our jump range, right? But that is a bit more pricey. There also life support. Now life support, if the windshield or your canopy, right, the glass on your canopy cracks, life support will kick in, and that's what's going to keep your ass alive. That's what that is. Influence and reputation, what does that do? That's actually a really good question. If we look over here, now that we actually did those missions, right, we can look over here. Our combat rank is harmless, 5%. That means we actually gained some ranking there. by doing that, just taking out that one wanted guy. It's kind of interesting. Thank you guys so much for those follows, man. I really do appreciate that. If we scroll down over here just by using the down key, the W, S and W for up and down, it looks like we kind of gained some reputation. The Brotherhood of LP 98-132. I think that was the guy that we took out. That's who he was associated with. But looks like there's a mob here. These are local factions, local system factions. But as you grow and do things within different systems, obviously, you know, that's really going to dictate what happens. Now we have, if you want to do bounty hunting specifically, what we could do is we could go try that here, right? We could go ahead and try that. There is a nav beacon here. Now the nav beacon is something that will typically have wanted individuals there. You could go back and you could do more missions here, right? You could slowly work your way up the chain, but to get some cash relatively quickly, we're gonna go ahead and do just a couple of these bounties here. We'll see if we can't. We'll see how we fare, right? Considering we're in complete entry-level equipment, honestly, we may not hold up very well. Astro, good to see you, man. Stis. Thank you, Hearthstone. I like that. I like that a lot.
Ship released. Engines engaged. Landing gear retracted.
Thank you, Decker. I appreciate that, man. So, again, once we're no longer mass locked, right? Once we're no longer mass locked, we can go ahead and head out to this nav beacon. Now, because we're an entry-level ship and we don't have much entry-level equipment, the whole 9 yards, we're going to have to be careful about which targets we end up taking on. But we can certainly look at maybe if we can take on, if we feel confident enough, we'll take on a few of these guys and see what happens.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
I feel pretty confident that we might have to work at it here, but I bet we could do pretty well. Now you see this little circle or line that's running along the edge of this planet. We want to kind of stay on the outside of that. So we'll use our orange rectile, our center rectile here. You'll see other things like strong signal source. That might be an area to maybe go get maybe some salvage or something like that. It might be illegal salvage or it might be a trap. You never know. You gotta kind of take your chances. Now it says it's gonna take 5.2 days to get to this plane, but it's really not. Once we get away from this planet, our speed should increase substantially. There we go. Delete the alien mystery, huh? Right now, I think we have 2G. Grav, good to see you, or Gav, good to see you, man. So right now, if we look at our weapons, we have 2G1. G stands for gimbaled, of course. Same with that little symbol next to it. 2 gimbaled pulse lasers, and that's it. We have pretty basic equipment all around, but that's all that we have for weaponry. Is just that. Now, hopefully we don't get interdicted again on the way out here. But we'll just pop over. A nav beacon is a good way initially for very early bounty hunting. This is a really good... Wow. Feels like I might get interdicted out here. This guy doing circles like this, what the hell? And if you see people pop up behind your map like that and then come circle back, those little yellow rectiles. Then chances are they will probably interdict you. And again, interdiction, what that means is ripping somebody from warp drive or frame shift drive or super cruise, hyper cruise, any cruise. If you're in the... So, where you should go for bounty hunting, like I said, early on, these nav beacons are a really good place to do that. right? Once you're ready to step up your game, if you feel confident and you want bigger, better targets, you can go look for resource extraction sites. And we'll cover that later though, but that's really what you're looking at, is resource extraction sites at that point. But for beginner, for starting out, this is definitely a really good place to do some bounty hunting early on. Nav beacon, it's a general hotspot. It's generally, most of the time, you're going to find these right by the star of the system that you're coming in. Most of the time. And Ozzy does the circle of shame. There is no shame. I call it the scenic route. And look at how cool, man. You can see the flare-ups of the sun. Not the sun, the star. That is super cool, man. Just kind of make our way over to this nav beacon. Again, once it says safe to disengage, we'll get right to it. We'll hit our frame shift drive button again and drop out. Can't hide from the loop of shame. That's funny. Have I seen a black hole before? Yes, I have. Okay, now, instantly you see lots of targets here on your map, right? So you got to be careful. What you want to do is target one. This looks like a Type 7 transporter. It tells you a little bit about him. Now, underneath harmless, you'll see where it says clean. That means he is not wanted, right? Now, if we look over here, you can target maybe this Cobra. It says he's elite, clean, and in a wing. See the wing? In a wing? Down there, 3 out of 3. That means he has 3 people with him. Right? So you got to be really careful about that. You don't want to take on 3 guys at once. That's almost a certain death wish. I don't know why I can't target this guy. There he goes. This is a keelback, harmless.
This is 3 Dog. Ow!
And it says in red lettering there that he's wanted. So we're going to deploy our weapons. I'm going to route power to my weapons and systems. Mostly to my weapons, but some to my systems. Now here is an important value. This is a lesson on sub-targets. Once you have something targeted, you can go over here to your sub-targets tab, and you can target various parts of the ship, right? Various things on your target, right? So, such as the power plant. More often than not, targeting the power plant is a good way to go, because once the power plant is disabled on a ship, then they're done, right? Once their power plant is done, they're done. They can't really do much of anything at that point. But you can target the frame shift drive if you're worried about them jumping out into super cruise. You can target various things, right? So you can just hit space and that'll target that subsystem, and now you see a little orange square down there. Jamorian, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? Kind of catch up to this guy here. Now, the actual damage to the power plant itself, you'll see now to the left of my target, the circle, you can see his shields. There's 3 rings of his shields. There is his hull integrity at the bottom. But to the left, you'll see power plant 100%. Now, the damage to the power plant isn't actually going to happen until I take down his shields, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and go for it here. Ready? And hope for the best. 3, 2, 1.
Target shields offline.
Looks like his hull is down to 57%.
Target shields online. Target shields offline.
The real trick here is to make sure and kind of stay behind him if you can.
Target shields online. Target shields offline.
And he's done.
Target destroyed.
So 5,000 credits for that one target that we just took out. Now the risk was a little bit higher because if he turned around and he started shooting at us, chances are we probably wouldn't have held up too well. But we did get some good money for that, right? I see you ask, will flight assist flying be covered in this tutorial? We could cover it. Now there's an option under your controls called flight assist on or off. You can toggle that if you want. Like I said before, that's kind of like the stability mode. So if we turn flight assist off, even though we're no longer turning, the ship will keep rotating, right? Now if you're in a tight combat situation, you can certainly look at Diamondback Scout has 2% hull left. I wonder if we can get there in time to take him out. That'd be an easy kill for us. And probably a good bit of money.
Target shields offline.
24,000, dude. Nice. Nice. And that guy's clean. Wow. So as you can see, it's definitely worthwhile. But if you're in a bigger ship and it's hard to turn, turning flight assist off can definitely help. Maybe give you that edge on turning if you need. Now, taking on some of these bigger ships like this may not be a smart move. Certainly what you're looking for are maybe single targets. This guy is clean. Zarlin, what's up? He says, I got a question on missions when they tell you to kill someone in space. How do you know where? So you have to just kind of... I mean, those are going to be tougher, for sure. Those are tough. But typically you can go out here to like these nav beacons and maybe try to scan the various ships looking for that person. If they're like a notorious pirate, you may have to interdict them from flight. So what you could do is start out here at like the star system and make your way back towards like a bigger station. Just kind of backtrack a little bit and scan various ships along the way and see if you can, you know, see if you can go there. Unidentified signal sources are good. You know, stuff like that. You know, stuff like that for sure. But since we're out here, let's go ahead and look for maybe our potential next target. Now what I'm looking for are ships that maybe... These guys are in a wing of 3. I don't want to take on the world in this thing, right? I want to be cautious. And what we'll do is we'll just kind of head over this way. Yeah, exactly. Some of them will drop and you'll have to follow their wake for sure. But that's a little more advanced. That's a little more advanced. This is officially Bounty Hunting 101, really. Just kind of check out some of these various ships here and just see if any of them are wanted. Here's a Type 7 transporter. Who is clean. There's a Cobra. In a wing of 2, also clean. Lots of clean people, aren't there? My goodness. So, Jason, that's actually a really good question. The difference between the fuel tank, the thinner line, and the blocks. The bottom one, that's like the bigger, the reservoir tank kind of thing. Ooh, we have an adder that's wanted, my friends. So I have a hat switch that cycles through the target subsystems already. We're just going to use that. But again, you could just look over to your left-hand navigation tab, cycle over to sub-targets, and target a power plant if you want. This guy might be a little more challenging to take on.
Charge detected.
Looks like he's looking to jump. You see, I changed my target to his frame shift drive. Another 3,000. Another 3,000 funds for that one. Yeah, so the thinner line is the one currently being used. That's your fuel currently being used. And the blocks, that's kind of like your reservoir, the dip into the funds type of tank.
Scan detected.
Looks like Astro's got the definite or better description there. So as you can see, bounty hunting, you know, it's a good way to earn money early on, as long as you're cautious, right? So, like I said, I have it wired to my hat switch on my flight stick, right? So I can cycle through them. I have a button on my flight stick so I can cycle through them. That's just, if you want to do that, just go into options and controls, right? And then from here, we can do, where is it? Flight miscellaneous targeting, right? You could cycle through targets. There's subsystem, cycle subsystems. That's what that's gonna do. Have you ever played Meteoroid? I have not. And by the way, tabbing out to that pause menu does not actually pause your game, right? You are still being shot at or flying or whatever the case is. You're still doing that while you're in this menu, just so you know. This does not actually pause your game. How can you go through federal ships without being scanned? So you can help avoid being scanned by running silent mode, right? Now he was using, like you say, heat sinks and thrusters off. He wasn't actually doing thrusters off. He might have, but honestly he was probably doing silent mode, right? Now silent mode is another option, another button that you can configure from the controls button. And thank you guys for those follows. I really do appreciate that. But you can run silent mode right here, right? Watch this.
Silent running.
Now what this
Shields
does,
offline.
turns my shields offline. I'm no longer emitting a heat signature. Because of that, I'm building up heat internally. You can see that my heat temperature is now rising, right? That's because I'm no longer emitting that heat signature. And eventually, the heat will start building up. Now, one way to combat that...
Critical. Thermal signature restored.
Before we start doing actual damage to our ship, right? Eventually, you'll start overheating, and your modules here will start taking a hit. They'll start overheating, right? So that's what that is.
Shields online.
Here's a wanted python. We're probably suicidal for going after this guy, honestly. Especially in our condition. But we'll target his power plant and see what happens. This would be a really good bit of money right now for us. Really good bit of money. If I can get to him fast enough. There we go.
Target destroyed.
Wait, 365? No! No! That should have been way more. He must have just went rogue. That must have been his issue. Anyway, but that's silent running. And again, like I said, you can combat that by popping off heat sinks, and we'll go over some of that later on for sure. Can you land on a planet without horizons? No. No, you cannot. Now, what's going on over here? We'll just kind of get over here and take out this wanted guy.
Target shields offline.
Maybe he loitered. Maybe it was his offense. You never know.
Target destroyed.
21,000. Wow. That's actually really good. 21,000. That's a good bit of cash right there, brother. So again, silent running. You have to configure the button in your options tab, right? But silent running turns off your shields, and you stop emitting that heat signature, right? So like right now, I'm emitting a heat signature. Kind of circle around here. How do you scan ships like that? You just target them. Once you target them, then you're good to go. These guys are all circling me like vultures. What are they doing? So you're building up heat. Anywho, that's silent running. If you take on too much heat, of course, you'll do damage internally. You don't want to do damage internally. Let's zip out here and we'll see if there's maybe one other target or so that we can maybe take on. There we go. There's other targets showing up now. You'll see the closer you get, you may have to kind of fly around a little bit for these targets to pop up. Thank you guys so much for those follows, man. Neo Sky asks, how do the modules and such run off each other? So the modules tab is your friend here, right? Let me untarget this guy in case I do something stupid. You have the modules tab. Now, the one thing that they're probably juggling, that you see them juggling, is power usage, right? So, for instance, if you are, like, let's say you're doing a long range, just, you know, exploration type mission, right? Like an expedition type thing. You can get a much longer jump range, or more of a jump range, which is, you know, your distance to travel to systems further away, right?
Home integrity compromised.
Holy
Shields
shit!
offline.
Oh my god! What the frick? Little bastard. Sorry, mistaken identity? I got your mistaken identity right here. Mistaken identity? You thought I was someone else? What the?
Shields online.
So before we die, I think we should go back and turn our bounties in. We'll head back over to the big station over here, in fact.
Cannot comply.
And see, that's a perfect example. We can't actually jump into Super Cruise while our hardpoints are deployed, right?
Frameshift drive charging.
God dang, man.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Oh. So anyway, the modules thing, right? God dang, dude. Anyway, the different modules, I mean, you probably see it. So people can get by with a much larger jump range if they have a smaller power plant, meaning that when things are turned on, like the cargo hatch, for instance, watch when we turn this off, our usage goes from 85% down to 76. So just by turning that off, we're saving lots of power usage. So if I had a smaller power plant, which I could theoretically get away with right now, you know, that would benefit the overall weight of the ship. The lighter your ship, the longer jump ranges you get, you know, and stuff like that, the more efficient you become. Thank you guys so much for those follows, dude. I really do appreciate that. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's probably what you saw him juggling, you know, turning the different modules on and off and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's if you do open play, right? I mean, most of us from the stream here will play in the private group Ozzy in Space, so there's that, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you play open play, solo, or private group, your save will remain the same across all systems equally. So that's something to just keep in mind. You're not having to start a new save each time you decide to start a new game and stuff like that. And the gravity of that Earth-like planet is certainly slowing us down quite nicely. So the different priorities, that's a really good question too. You can set these at different priorities. And what this does is, let's say I'm using less power than allotted right now, right? Than everything being turned on allows. Let's say that when I deploy my hardpoints, I'm just using way too much power and things shut off. What I could do is switch my frameshift drive to priority 2, and what that'll do is every time that I overuse power, the system will automatically look for priority 2 things to shut off. If I wanted my, you know, let's say I wanted the cargo hatch to be priority 3, it would then search for priority 3 modules to shut off before the priority 2, right? If it's still using too much power, then it'll go here. It'll shut the frameshift drive off second. But since my weapons are deployed, that's okay, because I'm not using my frameshift drive while I have my weapons deployed anyway, right? So I could undeploy my weapons to, you know, retract my hard points, and then I could restore that power. It would restore automatically, right? And then I could use my frameshift drive. The power would automatically come back. That's where priorities come into play, and we'll go into that a little bit more detail as this tutorial series progresses. Does that answer the question? Does that kind of make sense? I don't know if that really makes sense. And these are different ships here. Kind of cool, huh? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what this is all about, man. I am happy to answer any questions. Certainly feel free to ask any questions, guys, if I'm not covering something, or if maybe... I know you guys, the guys in chat are very experienced with the game too. So people, that's one thing you'll find about this game, is that people are always more than happy to answer questions that you might have. And if you missed something on this series, we'll be uploading this to the YouTube channel, so you guys can certainly check out the whole thing again on YouTube if you'd like. And we should have a fair bit of cash. We'll go ahead and request our docking here, right?
Docking request granted.
We should have a fair bit of cash now, because we got some pretty good luck with our bounty hunting expedition we decided to go on. I decided to come back because that guy rammed us for no reason, saying, "Oops, sorry, I thought you were someone else." Now we're looking for landing pad number 1, wherever that might be. I bet this is it here. It's kind of hard to get to.
Landing gear deployed.
We kind of maneuver around here a little bit to get in the right spot.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
Have I gone over plotting routes yet? Yes, we have. I can certainly. What do you have issues with? What do you do if you run out of fuel? Call the fuel rats. Or find a friend that can come get you and maybe refuel you if they're close. Fuel rats for sure. Hearthstone has the link there. What's the issue with plotting? What do you have questions about there? So say you buy a new ship, how do you get insurance? So insurance is automatic. If you go over here to the status tab, you see your balance, and then under that is the rebuy cost. The rebuy cost is going to be there no matter what. That's what your insurance is, okay? Now, there's nothing here because this ship was free. It's our starter ship, whatever. We haven't actually spent any money on it at all. But the rebuy cost will vary. It'll be 5% of the overall value of your ship as a whole. So if you buy a ship for, let's say, 20 million, right? Or whatever, right? Even $1 million. If you buy a ship for $1 million, right? And you spend another couple million outfitting it, the value of that is now over that 1 million. It's now worth 3 million if you spent the additional 2. So it'll be 5% of that 3 million cost. And if you die, if you blow up or lose your ship, then that's what it's going to cost you, and you'll be able to rebuy your ship back. That's the insurance, right? The quote-unquote insurance. That's what that is. And you'll be able to buy that, and it'll automatically spawn you back at the station which you were last at with that ship. So that's what that is. Gasper says, like I was trying to get to Seoul, but don't know exactly how to find my next jump. Okay, so we can go over that real quick here. Let me just, I mean, we won't be able to go to Seoul ourselves, right? Because we don't have the permit to go there. because you do have to have the permit, right? You can't just go to Seoul. You do need a permit to do it. We'll go here to contacts, and we can get 54,000 in funds now. How sweet is that? Bringing us up to 68,000 in funds. That's actually pretty slick. So if we go over here to our navigation and galaxy map, right, we can kind of zoom out here. Looks like Seoul is kind of the Seoul area, rather, is right over here. Here's Seoul, right? It says requires permit. So because we don't actually have the permit, we can't even plot a course here. We could mark it, but we couldn't actually plot a course to it until we have a permit. But you would basically, I guess we can maybe check out one of these other ones, right? Like here, you just plot your route. If it'll even let us. It may not be able to. If you kind of zoom in on your ship, these are kind of the, these are some of the places we can go that are within reach. Looks like you can purchase trade data if you want. So if I wanted to get here, for instance, that's 2 jumps. How do you get the permit? You have to rank up within the Federation. That's the way that you do that. You have to rank up within the Federation. And again, if you're taking those missions, right, these missions that are specific to helping those factions, right, if we look at our bulletin board, yeah, Nerf, we purchased a new account just for the sake of the tutorial. And yes, I did pay for it. So there isn't actually anything here. That's kind of weird. But you would see these little symbols here, right? Like I was showing you in the power play map. If you see these little symbols, like these little symbols next to the missions on the bulletin board, these are the different factions that they're helping out, right? So if you see this one next to the bulletin board, it's helping out the Alliance. If you're looking to rank up within the Empire, you would look for missions that have this symbol next to it. If you're looking to help out the Federation, you would look for a symbol that has this next to it, right? Does that make sense? Of course, independent. This being Empire is kind of weird, but it all the same. Still has that bird-looking thing, right? All the same. Tomato, tomato, I guess. Whatever. Yeah. Seljan, good to see you, man. So that's what you would do there. That's what you would do there. If you wanted to rank up within the Empire. And of course, you could check your status by going over here to the status side of things. And under the reputation section here, you could see Federation, Empire, and Alliance. And we're neutral with all of them because we haven't done any missions that help or hurt us with those. But we have done stuff for the local factions here, right? You can see here we're still neutral with a lot of these guys. We're starting to get a positive influence for Urain People's Party and the industry. The Brotherhood and Federal Bridge, those are probably the people that we have taken out bounties on. You can see now that our combat rank has actually went up to 34%, right? Oh yeah, that's a really good point too. That when you do die and you have to go back and purchase your ship, the rebuy costs or you know what I mean. You will lose all the cargo, any bounties that you haven't claimed, anything under the transaction tab that you haven't taken care of yet, that will disappear. That will disappear. Yeah, we haven't had transcoding yet. I'm kind of surprised. I apologize, fellas. I apologize, man. We've been getting transcoding lately at right around 2 something. I want to say it's right around maybe 230 to 260 ish. I think that's where it's been as of late for us. I realize that varies greatly, but we could look at outfitting now. Maybe get like a better weapon and stuff like that. Did we get a friend request seriously on this account? Oh, you lost your gold cargo. Yeah. Yes, Seljan, this is our Tutorial Tuesday series save. We purchased a brand new account just for the sake of doing a beginner's guide, an introductory guide to Elite Dangerous. So we could look at maybe getting some better weapons. Honestly, I think if we want to make pace, we could look at getting maybe a better frame shift drive. You know, 17. Maybe you could look at outfitting better things here, better things there if you want. Power distributor, this is what's gonna... We don't actually have a power distributor here, but that's okay, whatever. Thrusters, I mean, you know, all that good jazz. I think we'll take a look at maybe a better frame shift drive here, to be honest. 53,000. That would leave us with, I don't know, a good bit of cash. And the thing is when you buy these upgrades, right? When you buy these upgrades, it's important to remember that when you're buying and selling parts, when you sell the parts back, you get a 1-to-1 refund on those, right? But when you sell the ship and anything on the ship, you take, I think, what is it, a 5% reduction? 5% hit on the refund cost of the ship if you were to sell a ship. Now you don't actually get any money for the loaned parts or this loaned ship here, right? Because this was given to you for free, right? So there's that. But any parts that you sell or buy, you get a 1-to-1 ratio on that. So we'll go ahead and just get a better frame shift drive. This is going to allow us to pack on some distance. That gives us 14,000 credits to go, and you can see it no longer actually says loaned next to... Oh, is it a 10%? It could be 10. I really don't know. Oh, it is 5? Okay. You can update to Elite. You just have to buy it from... You just have to buy it. It is a standalone thing for sure. There's no way to like transition, but you can get Elite Dangerous without buying Elite Dangerous Horizons. That is a thing for sure. I wonder if we can get maybe... Oh, you know what? I was gonna look at maybe getting some... Oh, never mind. Don't have many options here, do we? The multi-cannon. Multi-cannon's not bad. We're gonna actually just stick with our stuff. We'll go check out maybe another system here. We'll get some navigation down. Did I actually get a friend request in this thing? I don't know that I should accept friend requests on this thing or not. Seeing as how this isn't really my save. The normal save anyway. There's an update to this game? Or how long has it been since you played? That's weird. So at this point we could, this commander will be very lonely, yeah, but again, I mean, we're not doing anything outside of just farting around with this thing. We might use it when we're bored with the expedition type of thing. But anyway, we could go ahead and check out other stations here if we wanted to. We can head back out to the nav beacon, maybe try to get some more money. More money might not be a bad idea. You know, we could maybe head over to a different system, check out other systems that are nearby, and see if anything sparks our interest. You know, when you kind of look over at these systems, it'll kind of give you some information on it. Like it says here, democracy, economy, industrial, and population 75,000. And its allegiance is with the Federation. So if you're looking for like Federation-specific missions, so you can rank up and get that permit to go to Sol, that's the type of stuff you would want to do. Now, just remember that each one of these specks of light is an entire solar system that you can go and do things at and see, and things and do, and things and see. Each one. Like each one, dude. Each one. So, you could certainly have a lot of fun exploring. Now, there is something to be said here for civilized space, because civilization does not actually reach out this far. Right? We are in a small area of space, and if we want to look at maybe how much of it is civilized, you could go over here and just maybe check out like this area. This is really going to be civilization. These are the different powers. This is a whole nother spectrum of the game, really, that we don't need to go over right now. But honestly, power play is something that is just, you don't need to do it right away. I would say steer away from it until you're certainly on your feet for a while in the game, and have a good grasp on what you like to do and where you like to go and what you like to see. You can be a very successful space pilot without going into power play. So that's my caution there. But I just brought this up so you could see kind of where civilized space is in comparison to everything else. I am going to purge the G2A message myself, as I do not condone G2A. Thank you for understanding. But at any rate, I think what we're going to do, we could go and look at maybe... Yeah, no worries, Captain. I don't really make it all that obvious that I don't condone it myself. It's not really brought up all that often either, so there's that. The distance across the galaxy. If I take any action across submitting for a faction, no. Let's see, this over here is about 58,000 light years. I would imagine, it looks like it goes to about here. Ish. That's 64,000 light years. And you have to imagine, so that's about the outer edge there. And then from here, that's about 7,500 light years away. So you gotta imagine, I would say, you know, and that's, I don't know if even that's the longest point, really, to be honest. But you're looking at probably close to a, you know, 100,000 light years, maybe, roughly, from the furthest point out. I would say maybe. It's certainly a good distance. If I had to guess. Just ballparking it. Space is very big. Space is very, very big. What we could do is we could go and look at, you know, more bounty hunting in our ship. Now, I think there's something to be said here for how to look at the map, right? Now, when you're searching for a system that maybe you want to go visit, there's various things that you can sort by, right? Like you can sort by the economy, trade routes, whether or not there's materials, you know, the list goes on, right? We can sort by economy. So if we're looking for high-tech systems that are nearby, we could certainly go check like this one out here. And like I said, it kind of tells you a little bit about it. So it says here, high-tech refinery, 7.5 million people, and they're aligned with the Federation, right? So we could go and check that system out. In fact, let's plot a route to it. And since we now have a better frameshift drive, that only takes one jump instead of the initial two, right? That's what kind of a difference we're making there by getting that better technology, right? Mining laser. I would say, in general, you're looking for high-tech refinery stuff. That's gonna be the type of system.
Engaged. Landing gear retracted.
But in general, if you're looking for specific ship equipment, high-tech systems are going to be where you're going to find a lot of that stuff. And I would not advise hot-shotting around, because if you're considered speeding like we are right now, and somebody hits you, you will get a small fine. Oh, that's right. So we're just going to jump as soon as that mass lock goes away. There we go.
Drive charging.
I feel like we did pretty good, man. We've covered a lot of ground here in a short period of time.
4, 3.
When do you think you'll be able to post this tutorial video to YouTube? So I think Korax will be able to do that, I think, pretty instantly. It'll be shortly after the stream ends for sure. I'll just be able to go into my video manager, and Twitch makes it very easy to upload things to YouTube. So we'll probably do something along those lines. Now we can go ahead and just take a look at this system and see what's here. Looks like we have a nav beacon. There's a conflict zone, low intensity. Looks like there's a pretty nice station here. Let's go. Looks like the nav beacon is actually right here first. We can maybe try a bit of bounty hunting before we head into the station. Try our luck, since the nav beacon is right here anyway.